Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. So just to give you a recap of what we had discussed. We had discussing the section where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Srila Rupa Goswami in Prayag continuously for 10 days. So far we discussed two main sections. One was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describing to Srila Rupa Goswami about the rarity of Krishna Bhakta, how rare it is to find devotees of Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we saw, he gave full analysis about first about the different species of life that are there and how human birth itself is rare, and from there somebody to be a spiritualist is rare, somebody to be a jnani is even more, then to be a mukta is even more rare, and finally he says being a devotee is very, very rare. And then the next section, which we discussed over two classes, was about the process of cultivating Krishna Bhakti. Wherein we discussed about the famous analogy which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives about the seed of bhakti being sown in our heart by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And by the process of hearing and chanting, we are watering the seed, and the seed sprouts, becomes a lata, a creeper, and then finally it goes, takes shelter on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Krishna. And then by continuously and carefully weeding out all the unwanted qualities, that's what we were primarily discussing on in the last class, how we can strengthen this plant and how we can protect ourselves by iron fencing around this plant in the form of association of devotees. And then when this plant is protected and watered, it gives a fruit. It's known as prema phala, the fruit of Krishna prema, love of Godhead. So today we are going to move to the third section in this series of verses, section about pure devotional service. Bhakti can be practiced at different levels. In the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, if we read Kapiladev's instructions, so today we will be touching on some of the instructions of Lord Kapiladev. There Kapiladev gives a different gradation about how even one can practice bhakti. Krishna also speaks about it in Bhagavad Gita. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after mentioning in general about the process of cultivating Krishna bhakti, now he is going to describe about some of the qualities of pure devotional service and how pure bhakti or Shuddha bhakti can be cultivated. First Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, this is Caitanya Caritamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19, verse 166. By Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service, which means without material contamination, one develops prema, love of God. I will describe the symptoms of Shuddha Bhakti. If you read Nectar of Devotion or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, a very famous verse Srila Prabhupada would often quote, we always see definition of pure devotional service. What is bhakti? What is pure bhakti? So the famous verse is Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Ruttama. This verse we normally attribute it to Srila Rupa Goswami for having written in Nectar of Devotion or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But actually if you read this section, we will see this verse is spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami has just taken it and repeated it in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions in a very chaste manner. If you read Caitanya Caritamrita, one thing that will really be glaring, strikingly glaring, is the style of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and the style of how Srila Prabhupada himself preaches. Prabhupada is so chaste to Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Prabhupada would just repeat exactly what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives as references, as examples, as analogies. Prabhupada, even in a day-to-day conversation, or how Prabhupada writes some complex topics in, let's say, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada follows Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to the dot. So here also we can see, as a true disciple of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Rupa Goswami takes this instruction and repeats it. 1.1.11, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that's the reference. So what is this verse? We'll spend some time understanding about this verse, very key verse, one of the most often quoted verses of Srila Prabhupada. This verse describes, in the very own words of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, about what is definition of Shuddha Bhakti or pure devotional service. This verse gives some qualities. Prabhupada would often say, Phalena Parichayate. You judge a tree by the fruit. Once during morning walk, which Prabhupada was having in a farm, they come across a big tree, mango tree, laden with fruits. So Srila Prabhupada, the disciples ask Srila Prabhupada, would you like some mangoes? Prabhupada says, yes. Prabhupada, do you have any preference for which of those mangoes would you like? Now you would say it's just a tree, fruit from any part of the tree is fine. That's what we would think. Prabhupada said, yes, I want fruits from the eastern side of the tree. Apparently, the eastern side of the tree gets the early morning rays and they are more nutritious. Prabhupada knew about that also. So Prabhupada says, I need fruits from the eastern side of the tree. Prabhupada later would comment on another occasion that early morning sun gives us energy. Rest of the day, it takes away the energy. Sometimes you will see people sitting in the sun, midday, I am taking vitamin D. You may, but you will also feel exhausted. How many of you have experience sitting in sun and feeling exhausted? If you carefully observe the timing, it won't be early morning sun. Early morning sun will never exhaust us. It will energize us. But sun, rest of the day, Prabhupada says, it will exhaust us. So if you want to really allow your body to take in vitamin D, try early morning sun. Sit and do japa. Okay, so here, Phalena Parichayate, characteristics or the qualities of bhakti. So what are the qualities? This verse gives two categories of qualities, primary and secondary. Technically, it's known as Swarupa Lakshana and Tatastha Lakshana. Swarupa Lakshana means the intrinsic quality, the most essential quality. Tatastha Lakshana means additional qualities. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. First two lines describe about secondary characteristics. Secondary characteristics, what are they? Anya Abhilashita. Pure devotional service means one should not have desires, any other desire other than pleasing Krishna. So it doesn't say Anya Abhilasha, it says Anya Abhilashita means desires which we may have to serve Krishna, Radha Gopinath in a certain way, they need to be protected. We can't be completely free of desires, but the desires have to be channeled for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. If you read the famous section about how Ambarish Maharaj, he engaged each one of his different senses in the service of the Lord. The description that's given is Kamam Chadasya Natu Kama Kamyaya. He engaged his power of desire. Actually, it's a very great power. to desire something is very great power. It's such a great empowerment. Anything great, if you study history, anything great that came about started with one small idea, one thought, one desire. Who can go back to the spiritual world? Whoever who desires to. But then just desiring and idly sitting is not going to achieve anything, but it starts with the desire. Then you start to work towards fulfilling the desire, realizing the desire. So, Anyabhilashita Shunyam means nothing. Anyabhilashita Shunyam means what the person or pure devotional service means one should not have any desire other than pleasure of the Supreme Lord. That's what it means. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. One's bhakti should be free of any speculative knowledge. In bhakti also, if we don't follow the Shastric injunction, Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatri, Vidim Vina, Aikantiki Harer Bhakti, Utpatayaiva Kalpate. It's in the scriptures. If one practices Hari Bhakti, but rejecting the instructions of Shruti, Smriti, Purana. Shrutis are the four Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva. Smritis are other Puranas. Upanishads we have. Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatrika. Pancharatrika with it, Narada Pancharatra. The instruction was given in 5 nights. That's why it came to be known as Pancharatra. Okay, Narada Pancharatra you will come across. Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatri, Vidim Vina. If one completely reject the scriptural injunctions that are given in all of these scriptures, even if one performs Hari Bhakti, Utpatayeva Kalpate, it will only cause disturbance to them as well as to others. So anything we practice in Bhakti has to be in line with the Shastric injunctions. But that injunction, one should take it as it is. It should be free of speculative knowledge. Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. One should not speculate. One should not have their own interpretation of knowledge. Prabhupada warns about even studying Shastras alone by oneself. Chanakya Pandit says, Prabhupada would quote, austerity you do alone. Studying of Shastras you do in 2s. Kirtana you do in 3s. Traveling you do in 4s. Why? If 3 people travel, 2 can gang up against the third one, kill him and go. Or kill her and go. So Narada Muni Chanakya Pandit says, this is how you go about with dealing with the different aspects of your life. If you want to do any fasting, any tapasya, don't put it in Facebook or Insta. I am fasting. Austerity you do alone, studying Shastras you do in 2s. Why in 2s? Prabhupada says if one studies even Srimad Bhagavatam, you know where Prabhupada writes this? Prabhupada writes this in Srimad Bhagavatam only. He says if one studies Shastras, Bhakti Shastras thinking I can understand it by myself, Prabhupada says one will wrongly come to impersonal conclusion. So even Shastras one is supposed to discuss. Machita mad gata prana bodhayanta parasparam. Parasparam means with each other. Krishna says. Katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Scriptures become relishable only when they are discussed with others. Alone you open the book, you will be blessed with Nidra Devi, correct? You will be. So, Shastras also one is supposed to study discussing with one another. Krishna Katha, we discussed about this last week also. Association means we come together, we discuss about Krishna only. We don't discuss about us. You can discuss about that, but that's not counted as association. You know where Prabhupada mentioned that? During his very first visit in Sydney. Second day after landing, Prabhupada mentions that. In Paddington. So it's very, very pertinent instruction for us, Sydney Vasis. And of course for everyone, but more so for us. So if we think Prabhupada might have said this to someone, Prabhupada is telling right here in Sydney, in the very first visit. Prabhupada knew about our nature. So coming together, discussing about Krishna. Hey Prabhu, hey Mataji, this is what I read today. Do you know? This is what Prabhupada said. That. Do you know this is what Krishna says? And there is so much information, so much juice, so much rasa in the scriptures that the more you discuss, more we will be able to relish it. So, jnana karmadi anavritam. Alone if we do, we will come with the monistic knowledge. Monistic knowledge means people may wrongly conclude Krishna doesn't have a form. People may wrongly conclude, even studying Shastras, that I can one day become Krishna. We can never become Krishna. Thank God we can never become Krishna. We cannot be like Krishna. Prabhupada says in one conversation, a rich person would stand in the queue to take darshan of the Lord. A rich person would go in front of Krishna and he would say, Krishna, I am a rich person, I have a lot of this wealth, please protect my wealth. And he would go. And right behind him a thief would come and he will also pray to Krishna. Krishna, you see the rich person who went, he has a lot of wealth, please bless me so that I can steal successfully. And he puts in Hundi's donation also and he goes, Prabhupada says, Krishna has to satisfy both of them. So being Supreme Lord is not easy. You know, when Jai Vijay get cursed, prior to them getting cursed, Jai Vijay, they are eternally there. Even when they get cursed here, they are still continuing their service, while Ravana, Dandavakra, Kumbhakarna, everyone, they came here and performed Leela with the Supreme Lord. They never left their service. They are eternally there. They just expanded themselves. So one day, when Mother Lakshmi comes to see and serve the Lord was taking rest. Jai Vijay, stop. No, you cannot see the Lord. Lord is taking rest. Lakshmi ji gets very angry. Why are you stopping me? Move. And then they move aside. Lakshmi ji goes in. She goes in upset and then she tells to Narayan, those two doorkeepers, they are stopping me. Who is more important for you? Me or them? Tough question, right? Now, Narayan is in a fix. He knew whatever he is talking, Jai Vijay are also very closely hearing. If he says Lakshmi ji is more important, they will get upset. And if he tells to Lakshmi ji, actually both of you are same like that, Lakshmi ji may get upset. Or if he says, no, servants, they are very important like that. So then Lakshmi ji is looking at Narayan, Jai Vijay also slowly opening and seeing Narayan. What is he going to say now? Narayan looks at Lakshmi. He knew very well Jai Vijay are also looking, looked at both of them and smiled. That smile was so satisfying that they were happy. Yes, Narayan smiled at me. What about the original issue? Nobody thought about it. Because the smile of the Lord. Next time, if somebody is upset with you, look at them and smile. They'll get more upset. That's why I'm saying we are not Lord. Supreme Lord can do that. You know, we'll upset them even more. You know, I'm telling you, I'm upset, you are smiling at me. So, monistic knowledge, we can wrongly conclude. Prabhupada says when we study Shastras, it has to be discussed. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. By conversing with one another, one can, tushyanti means very satisfied. Tusta mana. Will be very satisfied. Intellectually will be very satisfied. Spiritually will be very satisfied. Ramanti. Ramanti means one will be very blissful, simply talking about Krishna, hearing about Krishna. So these are the qualities that are given if we study Shastras as per the directions of the Shastra itself, which is we don't speculate, we discuss and we follow the instructions as they are. So it should be free of speculative or monastic knowledge as well as fruitive action. Any kind of materialistic desires should not be there. Let me study Shastra. Why? so that my material desires also may get fulfilled. Anyway, it's a good deal for me to go back to spiritual world. Might as well fulfill my material desires here. If one thinks like that and one practices bhakti like that, it is still bhakti, but not pure devotional service. Pure devotional service means it should be free of these secondary qualities, or these anarthas, so to speak. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. And now, after saying these two, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is now going for the primary characteristics, or Swarupa Lakshana. So these three, Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. Free of speculative knowledge, free of fruitive action, free of any desires except the desire to please Krishna. So these three are secondary qualities. Primary qualities means the next two verses speak about it. Depending on how you read, you can see it as two primary qualities or three primary qualities. Let's go with three. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. 3. Anukulyena. Bhakti means it has to be for Krishna, it has to be cultivated, and it has to be with the favorable intent for Krishna, to give pleasure to Krishna. In Krishna Lila, in Srimad Bhagavatam, if you see how much atrocity Kamsa did, sending one demon after the other, Krishna also took pleasure killing the demons. But because Krishna took pleasure in killing the demons, we can't conclude Kamsa was doing devotional service to Krishna favorably. Kamsa was also doing devotional service. True. How? By sending one demon after the other. Morning, afternoon, evening. 3 demons a day. Krishna kills and then Krishna goes to bed. Next day morning again 3 demons. Some demons Krishna killed at night time also. Shankachuda, you will come across. Sometimes Krishna, even killing Aristasura, he is getting ready to go and dance with the gopis, and then this demon is coming. Krishna gets very upset. I've dressed up so nicely. And Krishna carefully pulls up his, if you read the description, that's what's given. He carefully pulls up the pleats of the dhoti, tucks it in, and then he gives everything and he says, okay, come, let us fight, but don't make my clothes dirty. Krishna finishes him off soon, puts everything, dusts off and he goes. So Krishna is a very tasteful dresser. So here, Anukulyena, it has to be favorable. It has to be offered with favorable intent. So Kamsa is not a great example. Even though whatever service Kamsa did has brought pleasure to Krishna, Krishna will enjoy in any circumstance. Dayamrita Maharaj gives this example. If you read the Shamantaka jewel story, Shamantaka jewel was actually stolen. And then Satrajit's brother get killed. So now bad name comes to Krishna. Or people start to talk. Krishna says, look, I didn't kill him, but I can prove. So Krishna goes to the forest. For what? To find some evidence that will actually prove what happened to his brother. And finally he finds what had happened. So now the Shamantaka jewel Krishna has picked up, but Krishna didn't get it directly from there. He could actually see the footprints of wild animals. So he thought somebody must have killed. Then he follows the footprint. It is of a bear. Who is that bear? Jambavan. So he goes, it leads him to a cave. So when he goes inside the cave, there he sees Jambavan's son, baby, playing with that. Then he says, hey, who are you? Then he looks at Krishna, he cries and runs inside. And then he comes, Jambavan comes, Riksharaj comes, he couldn't recognize who is Krishna, then he fights with him. Then days become weak, it keep on going, there is no sign of any fatigue in Krishna. Finally Jambavan concludes, it has to be my Supreme Lord. Then he falls at his feet. And then Jambavan, very gladly gives Shamantaka jewel to him. He takes it. But Jambavan also offers his daughter Jambavati to Krishna. This is how Krishna marries Jambavati. So Krishna comes. Now Satyajit becomes very guilty that Krishna was innocent, but I went around spreading bad name about Krishna. So to pacify Krishna, Satyajit also gives his daughter Satyabhama to Krishna. Now why did Krishna go to forest? Krishna went to forest to clear his bad name. But in the process, he got the jewelry back and he also got 2 new wives. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer in every instance. Krishna knows how to enjoy in any situation. Even when Kaliya, my Guru Maharaj says, Kaliya had so many hoods. Spitting venom, spitting fire, trying to strike Krishna. It is said that the venom of Kaliya Nag was so poisonous that even the vegetation on the banks of Yamuna, they got completely exhausted. Many of them, they just died, collapsed. Even if a bird happened to fly over Yamuna, around the lake where Kaliya was living, the fumes from the venom, that was enough to affect the bird and the birds will drop down dead. That's how powerful he was. This is the snake we are talking about here. Krishna dances on top of him. Gandharvas play. Apsaras dance. Krishna also dances. My Guru Maharaj says during that whole dance performance, Krishna didn't miss one single beat. If you have experience with the dancing here, sometime have you got dancing? You try to go forward, the guy in the front or the Mataji in the front would come back. You will hey. Even when you play Mridanga or Kartal also, somebody will go off beat. So sometimes in mind you think I have to play, but your hand would respond a little slower. All of us got this experience. But Krishna danced so perfectly, he didn't miss a beat. Krishna knows how to enjoy in every situation. There is no failure for Krishna. Whatever Krishna desires, Satya Sankalpa will come to pass. So Krishna can enjoy, but with what intent did Kamsa offer that service? With what intention? Is it Anukul or Pratikul? Anukul means favorable, Pratikul means unfavorable. Kamsa offered it in with the harming, hurting intent. So it's not considered bhakti. Definitely not a pure devotional service. Okay, so here it's given Anukulyana means, that's what it means. It cannot be bhakti offered accidentally. Putana gave Krishna poisonous milk. Krishna accepted her service, but Putana is not said to have offered pure devotional service. Does that make sense? Why? Intent is bad. Devotion is there, bhakti is there. Krishna still accepted, Krishna gave her the benefit. There's no doubt there. The full benefit he gave to go back to spiritual world. But it is not considered pure devotional service. Why? It's not Anukul. Anukul means it has to be offered with favorable intent. Not bhakti accidentally became intentional. It shouldn't be like that. Or bhakti accidentally became pleasing for Krishna. Krishna will be pleased in any situation. In one place, Prabhupada says, first Krishna dances with the gopis, he hugs the gopis, and after the gopis go, the cows come. Krishna hugs the cows also. So it's not that Krishna is only after the gopis. And in another instance, Prabhupada says, cows sometimes they would come, they don't know what service to offer to Krishna, they'll just come lick his body and they go. Prabhupada says, Krishna is so kind, he accepts that service also from them. Cows just come, lick his body and they go. Krishna is very sweet. In every instance, you will see. So Krishna knows how to accept service, but that service should be offered with a favorable mood, favorable intent. That's what Anukul mean. Second one, Krishna. Bhakti means it has to be offered for Krishna. We cannot connect it to Maya and say somehow, see, I'm like Uttamadhikaris, they see everyone as devotees. Even if somebody is under the spell of Maya, pure devotees, you know what they think? They are under Maya. Maya is one of the energy of Krishna. That means they are under Krishna. Like that they conclude. If we conclude like that, people will call us mad. That's why we are not Uttamadhikaris. So we cannot imitate the actions of pure devotees. But for us, we have to be very clear, this is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is clearly saying it has to be offered only to Krishna, directly, not indirectly, not accidentally. It has to be offered with the favorable intent, point number one, not accidentally becoming devotional service. Second point is, it has to be offered directly for Krishna. Now the third point is important, also, Krishna Anushilanam. Shilanam means cultivation. Bhakti is not idle meditation. Bhakti means we have to engage our senses. Prabhupada writes in the purport that in material state of life where we are in the conditioned state that we are in, at this point we are engaging in the service of the Lord, but that service to the Lord should be done with the transcendental senses. Initially we are with material senses. Currently we are with material senses only. So whatever we do, there will be some impurity there. Still we have to keep doing. But by process of doing, what happens is, over a period of time, senses become purified. And just like how the soul, which is our spiritual body, gets covered by this material body, similarly, we also have transcendental eyes. Yesterday I was giving this example in the youth class. Once in a Bhakti Shastri class in Mayapur, where I was fortunate to do Nectar of Devotion under Kadam Swami Maharaj. On this point, Maharaj was saying, we all have transcendental senses. And he said, I will prove it. Then there's like rows of devotees, 4 or 5 rows we were. I was seated in the front. He said, like, you, close your eyes. I closed my eyes. Did you take darshan of Radha Madhav today? I said, yes. Okay, now describe what do you see now. Then I was describing about lotus feet, how Radha Madhav were wearing anklet made of tulsi. And then I was describing about the lotus feet, beautiful decorations that were there, painting that was there on the feet of Madhava. And then slowly the waist belt, what I saw, what color clothes he was wearing, and then slowly coming up to the chest, how beautifully he's holding the flute, how we can see the Tribhanga form, and then his beautiful face. And then I was describing. Then he said, open your eyes. See, this is the proof we all have transcendental eyes. Like this, we have transcendental sense of smelling. We have transcendental hearing also. Any material sound, what we are hearing, it's not the soul that is hearing, just the material body that is hearing, material sense that is hearing. But material sense has attraction for hearing material or for enjoying material objects only. But if we somehow or other spiritualize ourselves by practicing bhakti, to be engaged in the service of the Lord, then it will be easier for us to slowly purify ourselves. So much so, we will come to a point when our transcendental senses will be fully uncovered. And from that point onwards, whatever we talk will be about Krishna. Whatever we hear, it will be only about Krishna. Whatever we think will be about Krishna only. So, this is Shilanam. Shilanam means cultivation. It's not we sit idly and we think somehow things will come to pass. It will, provided we practice it sincerely. Early in the morning in our temple, we say Bahujanma Karyadi Shravana Kirtanam Tabutana Paya Krishna Pade Premadanam. If one is infested with any one of the 10 offenses in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, Bahujanma Karyadi, he will still not receive love of Godhead, which is the ultimate goal of this chanting. You know where that verse comes from? Caitanya Caritamrita. So we can practice bhakti, but if we practice bhakti with full of offenses, Bahujanma Karyati Shravana Kirtam, we can keep on hearing chanting for not 1 birth or 2 births, but for many births. Still, we won't attain love of Godhead. Why? Because our transcendental senses haven't fully awakened. We are still dealing with material sense, which means there will be sin. Yesterday I read one point in Prabhupada's purport. Many points I read. One point that really struck me was Prabhupada was mentioning what is a sinful activity. And Prabhupada was mentioning in the purport in 3rd canto, any activity where the enjoyer is not Krishna is a sinful activity. Anything. And Prabhupada says, materially people may actually do pious activities, but if it is without Krishna, it is sin only. Shock. Anything which is not connected to Krishna is a sinful activity. Prabhuji, you can go and take darshan of Prabhupada. Okay. So, anything which is done without Krishna is sinful in this world. Even so-called pious activity is sinful. Why? Prabhupada is writing in the purport because somehow or other it will be influenced by the modes. Modes means it's already finished. It's no more transcendental. There is karma involved there. So Prabhupada says it is sinful. So these are the primary and secondary characteristics. Anya abhilashita shunyam. One should be free. First I will tell about secondary characteristics or tatastha lakshana. Anya abhilashita shunyam. Pure devotional service means one is free of any other material desire except the desire to increase the pleasure of the Lord. Jnana karmadi anavritam. Bhakti should be free of any speculative or monistic knowledge. Monistic means to merge with the Lord. It should be free of that. Third one is jnana karmadi. Karmadi means to be free of any fruitive action or material actions, any material desires. To fulfill that, one should not perform any material actions. So it should be free of these three. No other desire except a desire to please Krishna, free of monistic knowledge, and free of fruitive actions. Then he mentions about primary characteristics. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Anukulyena, it has to be done with favorable intent. It has to be only for Krishna. Shilanam, it has to be actively cultivated. So, Caitanya Mahaprabhu, after describing this, he says, Anya vancha, anya puja, chadi, jnana karma, anukulya sarvendriya, Krishna anushilana. If one wants to practice Krishna Bhakti, one should not have any material desires in one's heart. We'll see shortly about our category of devotees who practice sadhana bhakti but who still have material desires. We'll come to that. These activities are called Shuddha Bhakti, by which one develops his original love for Krishna. Why is Caitanya Mahaprabhu describing here? Because in the previous class we saw about the Bhakti Lata Bija. When the seed is sown, we are pouring water in the form of hearing and chanting. The creeper grows and finally it goes and takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And it also gives Prema Phala. Krishna Prema, fruit of Krishna Prema. Now how, from the time when the seed is actually sown, seed of bhakti is sown in our heart, to the time when the Prema Phala is going to fructify, how are we going to make that fruit ripe? By this process of Shuddha Bhakti. Without this, it will always be dry mango, dry fruit. We cannot taste that. If you want to taste it, this is how we are going to taste it. How? By cultivating pure devotional service. So in that context, Caitanya Mahaprabhu says, these activities are called Shuddha Bhakti, by which one develops his original love for Krishna. In Pancharatras and Srimad Bhagavatam, these symptoms are described. First, Caitanya Mahaprabhu says, what are the two effects of Shuddha Bhakti? If one, as given in the previous verse, if one practices pure devotional service, what are the two effects? Again, Rupa Goswami hears this and repeats it in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This verse is also given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, right after Anya Abhilashita Shunyam verse. This is 1.1.12. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam verse is 1.1.11. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. Again, one of the often quoted verses of Srila Prabhupada. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam. This is the first effect. Sarva upadi. Upadhi means any kind of symptom, any material designation. Sarva Upadhi Vinir Muktam means, Mukta means what? Liberated. Sarva Upadhi Mukta means what? Free of any other designation. I'm Indian, I'm Australian, I'm American, I'm male, I'm female, I'm this, I'm that, I'm rich, I'm poor. Anything, any kind of designation, material designation. I'm son of such and such a person, father of such and such kids, so on and so forth. Any material designation, or professionally I'm this, I'm that, any kind of material designations. Sarva Upadhi Vinirmuktam. If one comes to pure devotional service platform, one won't identify with any of this. I was giving class in one youth group, and one asked, how can I understand that I'm free of all designations? I told them, if you go and watch India-Australia cricket match, you won't support your country anymore. You would just sit there and enjoy the game. That's the liberated state. Half you get attached to one, then we limit ourselves to only I'm this and I'm that. That's also given us one of the upadhis. Sarva Upadhi Vinirmukta means one is free of all material designations. That doesn't mean we should not support our team. It's natural for us to feel happy when the team that we support, the team which is representing our country, to support that. It is natural. Doesn't mean we should not have that. But the point is, pure devotional service means currently our love doesn't stop with loving our favorites. It also goes to hating the opponents. That hate will go away. That's what a pure devotional service means. You can still be a nationalist and can be a pure devotee, no problem. But the hatred will go away. Currently in material world, anything material is limited. Which means if I have to come up, there's a natural tendency to push everyone else down. Because there is a certain insecurity that if that person also comes, it will be a problem for me. So let me push the other person down. That's not a pure devotional service. Pure devotional service means, Prabhupada says, even among gopis there is competition. But the focus there is, oh, you have done this service so nicely to Krishna, let me do a better service to please Krishna even more. Not like you are doing this, I have to do something, to pull you down. That's material tendency. That's not good. Spiritual world, Prabhupada says, competition is there, but the competition has to be like this. So even if somebody who is a pure devotee watches their country and some other country playing, they won't hate the other one. They'll still have love for both. That's what it means. Pure devotional platform means. Sarva Upadhi Vinirmuktam. First benefit. Tad Paratvena Nirmalam. We discussed this point earlier. Our senses will become completely purified. It won't be contaminated anymore. When we see Krishna, our eyes will be satisfied fully. Eyes will have no more desires. Currently, after taking darshan of Krishna, eyes are going to movies. Eyes are going to cricket match. Eyes are watching cartoon, video games. They are all material activities. Transcendental senses means when our eyes take a darshan of the Supreme Lord. Pana Patram Mukam Drisham. It's there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Shriyo Nivasa Yashyoraha Pana Patram Mukam Drisham. Bahavo Loka Palanam. Saranganam Padambujam. How different limbs of Gopinath is acting as shelter for different people. Shriyo Nivasa Yashyoraha. Krishna's heart is the residence of Srimati Radharani. Shriyo Nivasa, Srinivas. Shriyo Nivasa Yashyoraha. Krishna's chest is the residence of Srimati Radharani. Pana Patram Mukam Drisham. Krishna's beautiful face is the shelter of the transcendental eyes of his devotees. Bahavo Lokapalanam. Bahubali. mighty armed. We see that, right? Arm. Krishna's two arms are the shelter of Lokapalanam, of all the 330 million demigods. Saranganam Padambujam. Krishna's lotus feet is the shelter of his devotees. In this way, Bhagavatam explains how different limbs of the Lord, different parts of the body of the Lord is the shelter. Transcendental senses means when the eyes take darshan of Radha Gopinath, that's it. Nothing else the eyes would desire. Everything else, eyes should be closed. When Srimati Radharani was born, baby Srimati Radharani, she was keeping her eyes closed. And everyone was concerned, looks like there is some problem with the sight. And then she finally opened when baby Krishna came. At that time, she opened. So, transcendental senses means, this is what transcendental senses mean. Everything that we do will be directly connected to the Supreme Lord. To the extent it is directly connected, to that extent it is pure. Currently, we are impure. That may be 50-50 or 99%. We don't know. It's a sliding scale, only we know. And Gopinath knows. How much are our senses pure? But we can gauge it based on where else are the eyes seeking pleasure? Where else are my ears seeking pleasure? Other than hearing Krishna Katha, other than hearing the holy name of the Lord. Where is my tongue seeking pleasure? Other than chanting the holy name of the Lord and taking Krishna Prasad. So on and so forth. Okay, so Sarva Upadi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. To engage our senses to serve the master of the senses. Rishika means senses. Rishika Isha means senses. Rishika Isha means controller, master. Rishika Isha is Rishikesha, master of the senses. Krishna has got another name, Govinda. Govinda means one who gives pleasure to the senses. But master of the senses is Rishikesha. Rishikesha. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. To engage these senses to serve the master of the senses. How can every sense be engaged in the service of the Lord? We have to study Ambarish Maharaj. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayor Vachamsi Vaikunta Gunanu Varnane Karau Harer Mandira Marjanadisham Shrutim Chakarachyuta Satkatodaye Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drishau Tadbritya Gatra Sparshenga Sangamam Granam Cha Tatpada Saroja Saurabe Srimad Tulasyam Rasanam Tadarpite Padam Harishetra Padanu Sarpane Shiro Rishikesha Padanu Vandane Kamam Cha Dasya Natukama Kamyaya Yatottama Shloka Janachraya Ratihi. How each of the senses he engaged. Savai Manakrishna Padaravindayor. He fixed his mind on Pada Aravinda. Aravinda is lotus. Pada means feet. On the lotus feet of the Lord. His mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Savai Manakrishna Padaravindayor. Vachamsi Vaikunta Gunanu Varnane. He engaged his sense of speech in Guna Anuvarnane to glorify the qualities of the Supreme Lord. Karau Harer Mandira Marjana Disho. He used his hands to clean the temple. One of my goals after we rebuild the temple is to lead a department for cleaning. I have named the department Goloka Seva Department. How many of you would like to be part of Goloka Seva Department? Thank you. You are all on camera. I'll take photo and I'll show you evidence. You signed up before. You have promised in front of Radha Gopinath. Okay. Karau Harer Mandira Marjana Disho. Temple has to be, Prabhupada says, revolutionarily clean. We can clean our way back to Godhead. We don't need to know so many verses. We know Krishna's name. We don't need to know so many shlokas. If we have this one simple knowledge that I am servant of the Supreme Lord. Yesterday somebody asked, I was giving a class about different rasas that is given in Kapiladev's instructions, Prabhu, what is our rasa now? In material world, there is only one rasa, dasya ras. We are all servants of the Supreme Lord. And even if you take Yashoda Maharani, she is also serving baby Krishna only in the mood of servant. Dasya ras is there in all the other rasas also. Srimati Radharani Madhurya ras, serving Krishna. Arjuna Sakya ras, serving Krishna. Vatsalya ras is Mother Yashoda, serving Krishna. Of course, Hanuman, Dasya ras, serving Krishna. So being servant of the Lord. That's why we add Das as our name. Sometimes we get called, can I speak to Mr. Das? There are many Das here. Which Das? So, mind in fixing on the lotus feet of the Lord, meditating on the Lord, hands in cleaning the Lord. Karau harer mandira marjanadisham shrutim chakarachuta satkatodaye. Sense of hearing about Krishna Katha. Likewise, Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drisho. Mukunda Linga means the Murti form of the Lord. Darshane Drisho, sense of seeing the beautiful form of Radha Gopinath. Tadbritya Gatra Sparshenga Sangamam. Engage the sense of touching in paying obeisances. This is given as the austerity of the body. Sometimes you may actually give a gentle hug to the devotees. Sometimes you may touch the feet of some senior devotees. Sometimes you touch your head to the feet. Sometimes you touch your head to the dust of the lotus feet. In this way, sense of touch is engaged. When the Argya water, Argya is, if you see the Arati, there is incense, there is lamp, then you have Argya, the water that's offered in Shankar. You will have a lot of experience, good experience when devotees come to sprinkle on your head. You know, whichever angle they do, sometimes I see devotees, if they are little tall and the devotee to sprinkle water, they are a little short, they'll be dancing. Sometimes I have seen they are leading the kirtan playing, chop. Somebody just slaps this like handful of water on their face. And sometimes they are like stunned, they don't know what to do. Hare Krishna! We have to give very gently on the top of the head, not on the face. If you are short, ask the devotee to bend down a little. If you find it hard, ask some other devotee to offer. We have good. If you want to enjoy life in Krishna consciousness, you can observe all of that. But that's not the point I'm mentioning here. Point is, when the water is sprinkled on our body, we have to remember that sensation. Later on, when in normal course of your life, you feel lusty, you feel angry, and you know your body is not in your control. At that time, if you remember that sensation, you can just shrug it off very easily. Bhakti is very scientific. If only we are focused on it and we are fully conscious of it. Simply remembering that sense when the water that is offered to the Lord is sprinkled on our head, you remember that sensation of that rose water, that chillness. Next time, when the water comes, you wait for it. Yes. You know, Bhishma Dev, when Krishna picked up the chariot wheel and surging towards him, Bhishma Dev dropped everything and he says, please my Lord, kill me. Like that, you do like this and one devotee will splash water on your face. Just be a little mindful. But we have to be little mindful, especially if somebody is new, it can shock them. Very gently, little bit on the head. So sense of touch. Granam cha tatpada saroja saurabe. Sense of smell by smelling the flowers that has been offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Srimad Tulasiyam Rasanam Tadarpite. Sense of taste by tasting tulsi leaf. Sometime in Charanamrita you will see. You place it on your tongue and then you taste it. This is how Ambarish Maharaj did. See, our process didn't change. It never gets obsolete. Our instructions don't change. It never get obsolete. Bhakti is always relevant, most relevant. Recently I was sharing one point. If you look at even Prabhupada's photos, when Prabhupada is flanked by many of his disciples, sometimes you will see, even some visitors you would see them. If you look at the whole scene, Prabhupada would be wearing dhoti kurta, devotees will be wearing devotional clothing, sari and dhoti. And then you will see someone wearing bell-bottom jeans. It's the bell-bottom jeans that has become obsolete now. Otherwise, this photo is as updated as in 2026. It will always remain like that in, you take another 300, 400, 3000, 10,000 years. It will still be the same. Krishna's clothes, Vedic style of dressing, never become obsolete. Same dhoti, same kurta. Krishna, how he is wearing, this is based on the description that's given in the Shastra. It's always like that. Devotional clothing, sari, dhoti, kurta, same. It's the other things that get introduced as a fashion. You will see them at some point. It is the most latest fashion, and then, after 10 years it becomes obsolete, and after 10 years later, same thing becomes a fashion again. It's the same cycle. People are limited. You can't create unlimited varieties. Okay, so bhakti is always eternal. Flower was offered to Krishna when? Since eons ago. Since the dawn of creation. Now also we are offering. Nothing has changed. Same flower, same lotus feet of the Lord. Nothing has changed. Krishna's name didn't change. Shastric injunctions didn't change. Cows have always been holy. Always. Shanka, even though it's a bone of an animal, still it is holy. It has never changed. Bhakti is the most relevant. Bhakti is not a thing of the past. Bhakti belongs to the future. Bhakti belongs to the present time. Bhakti has always been relevant since time immemorial. Even before we are born. This is exactly what that happens in spiritual world also. Spiritual world also, Krishna is dressing in exactly same way. He is having peacock feather. He is playing flute. Flowers are still offered. Everything is there still. So in this way, we can continue reading that verse. How Ambarish Maharaj engaged each one of the senses. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are also given this process if we simply take full shelter of it. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasha Kahe Shrudrida Nishchaya. Krishna Karma Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoya. Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoya. The word Shraddha, it is said that the word Shraddha means firm faith. That Krishna Bhakti Kaile, that simply by performing devotional service to Krishna, Sarva Karma Krita Hoya, everything else is automatically done. That's what it means. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasha Kahe Sudrida Nishchaya. Shraddha, it is said that the word Shraddha means it is firm faith that simply by doing devotional service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, all other subsidiary activities are automatically done. We don't need to worship any other demigod. We don't need to follow any other special vrata. We don't need to do anything else extra. Simply by worshipping Krishna, that one single act is enough. And everything else is automatically taken care of. Prabhupada would say, for Krishna consciousness, it is that one switch turning on which will brighten the whole world, will make every globe glow, every bulb glow. So here he says, Tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. And then he goes on to quote Lord Kapila Dev's instructions about the different characteristics of Shuddha Bhakti. We'll continue next week. Any questions? Yes. Even when you are in the temple, you will forget.
Yeah, so we always forget. Again, we come after the next lesson and we remember and we feel like okay, from here I'm going to do this. And we go back to our same life. So what should we do?
Good question. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur will be very happy with your question. The same question was asked to him also. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of honesty to ask a question like that. How I'm hearing something in the temple it feels like this. But then the moment you step out, hand goes to the mobile and then out comes Instagram reel. How to retain it? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. He says when somebody is having problem with their bowel movement, let's say if somebody is having diarrhea, no matter what they eat, body is not accepting. He says such people should actually take a little ghee along with the food. And the ghee will make at least a little bit of the food to stick in the body so body can assimilate it. Slowly it can regain its strength and slowly it can come out of the ailment. That's why it is given repeatedly hearing. Tasmad sarveshu kaleshu. Krishna says, Machita mad gata prana bodhayanta parasparam. Katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. That's why association of devotees is important. Repeatedly we need to hear and chant. Why is it we are forgetting? Because our memory, our consciousness as a non-devotee is so much. And our bhakti is this much. Recently I was thinking, I write journal. So recently I was thinking, I started bhakti when I was 24. I'm 45 now. I was thinking in another 3 years, at least in this life, mechanically at least, I can say half of my life I was not a devotee and half of my life I was a devotee. But then, after some time, when I go past 50, 55, 60, everything else is bonus. So, we will have so much more memories, so much more samskars, so much more inspirations which are devotional for us to go back. Currently, we don't need to make any plan to become a karmi. Again, you just stop practicing bhakti a little bit. In fact, when you wake up, sometime you think, who am I? Have you got that experience? Am I still a devotee? We feel like that. Because we are more close to our materialistic lifestyle than a devotee, than being a devotee, than practicing devotional lifestyle. But slowly, as I gave, my number at one point will become 50-50 and after a certain point it will become 51-49, 60-40 and depending on how long I live it can go up to maximum 75%, 25% if I live for 100 years, 108. I was once calling a devotee, he said, Prabhu, you live for 100 years. I said, just to make it 180, it's okay. I was just thinking about you. So, point is, if we repeatedly keep doing, it's not that Krishna just sits there and watches, doesn't do nothing. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that, it's not that Krishna sits there and watches you idle. With every effort we make, Prabhupada would often say, for every single step we take, Krishna will take 10 steps towards us. Yes, Prabhuji, but it doesn't look like Gopinath is taking steps towards me. Krishna will do his job properly if we keep on doing our job properly. Over a period of time, we will see whatever bhakti or the struggle that we feel practicing bhakti initially, it will become more and more easy. How many of you feel the process at least is getting a bit more easy? Yes, Prabhu, reluctantly, if you say so, Prabhu. No, it becomes easy over a period of time. How many of you have been to any holy place? This is a holy place. Chanting here is much easier than in your room. How many of you agree? See, that much experience you have. Good. If sometimes you'll see, devotees come here, they feel so comfortable, they feel sleepy in the class. My Guru Maharaj says that is even progress. Why? Because outside you are so much, I don't have any sleep. I'm having very restless night. No problem. Come to our Bhagavatam classes. Seriously. If you are awake, spiritually you will get enlivened. If you are tired, you will get nice sleep. What's your problem? After that, we'll serve you breakfast. It's a progress. You are laughing. Seriously. Anything that you do in the temple, you get 1,000 times the benefit. Can I show you the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam? It's there. Any activity, you don't know what to do. I feel bored. Come to temple. Trust me. Even sitting here and doing nothing, if you had spent 1 hour, that's the same as spending 1,000 hours outside doing some pious activity. It's in Bhagavatam. Any activity that you do away from the holy place versus doing the same thing in the holy place, you will get 1,000 times more benefit here. You want to eat here. You want to chant here. At least come here on your birthdays. You are happy, come here. You are sad, come here. You don't know what to do, come here. I had thought about it before. That's why I joined the temple. Because see, in your home, you move a table. What is that? It's just one activity. Same thing, you come here, you move this. This is devotional service. Correct? You want to do exercise, I want to do exercise, lifting dumbbells, just to lift this. Lift our books. Lift prasadam buckets. You will still remain healthy, but at the same time you will also make spiritual progress. Any activity. So, by continuously doing, repeatedly doing, over a period of time doing, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, Bhakti means we need to do 2 things. We have to chant Krishna's name continuously for a prolonged period of time. 2 things. Continuously, which means without stopping, and for prolonged period of time. Not like continuously for 2 hours and stopping. Prolonged period of time means both matters. Prabhupada in one conversation, he says, 1 lifetime is more than enough for us to attain perfection. So, remain healthy and prolong your life as much as possible. I was once speaking to the youth, and I told them, many of you are international students, some of you are local students. Your biggest challenge at this point would be to get a degree, to get a proper job, to marry, to plan a family, to buy a home, if it's still affordable. God knows where it's going. That's what we think as the most pressing problem in this age, when you are 20s, early 20s, late 20s, like that. Once you cross 50, you will have only one problem in life: health. Nothing else will matter. So Prabhupada says, take care of your health. The more we prolong our life, more chances we give to ourselves to practice bhakti and attain perfection in this one life. Bhakti is holistic. Bhakti never says practicing taking care of health is not important. It is important. Everything belongs to Krishna. Our intelligence, our body, our property, our dependence, everyone and everything, including us, everything belongs to Krishna. So if we work with that proper mode, then you will be a proper person. Whichever role that you perform in your day-to-day life. You can be a good husband, you can be a good wife, you can be a good parent, you can be a good son, daughter, everything. All bhakti process needs is add Krishna also in whatever that you do. That's all. You just get your best friend inside your family. That's it. Everything else, you can have your home, you can have your mortgage, you can have your riches. You don't need to give up anything. You can have everything. Only thing is, just add Krishna in your life. That's all you have to do. That way we can be happy. Everyone else around us also can be happy. We'll stop there. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai. Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Marani ki jai. Sri Sri Gauranitai ki jai. Sri Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.